5th century BC, the Mediterranean world. Athens is ascendant, wealthy from trade, powerful from its navy, fresh from defeating the Persian Empire, the superpower of the ancient world. The city is building the Parthenon, producing philosophy and theater, spreading its influence across the Greek world. And Sparta is watching. Sparta, the dominant land power for generations, sees Athens growing richer, stronger, more ambitious, sees Athenian ships in harbors that used to defer to Sparta, sees allies switching sides, fear creeps in, suspicion, the sense that the old order is collapsing. And then, as if following a script written by fate itself, the two powers slide into war, not because either side necessarily wanted it, but because fear, pride, alliance commitments, and miscalculation created a chain reaction neither could stop. What happens when a rising power threatens to displace an established one? History has answered that question the same way over and over for 2,500 years. I'm Keith Conrad, and this is Sidequests. Today, the Thucydides Trap. Why rising powers and declining powers so often end up at war. How ancient Greece produced a pattern that would repeat through Rome and Carthage, Britain and Germany, and countless other rivalries across history. And why the trap isn't really about Greece at all. It's about what happens when nations and people fear losing their place in the world. Thucydides was an Athenian. Born around 460 BC into a wealthy family, he served as a general during the early years of the Peloponnesian War, the decades-long conflict between Athens and Sparta that would devastate the Greek world. He failed spectacularly, lost a battle, got exiled from Athens, spent 20 years in exile, and in those 20 years, he wrote one of the most important history books ever created. History of the Peloponnesian War, but Thucydides wasn't just chronicling events, he was analyzing causes. Not the surface reasons. This city allied with that one. This general insulted that ambassador. He wanted the deep causes, the structural forces that made war almost inevitable, and he identified one. It was the rise of Athens and the fear that this instilled in Sparta that made war inevitable. Not Athenian aggression or Spartan ambition. It was fear of displacement, fear of losing status, fear that the world order was changing and Sparta would be left behind. That observation, made 2,400 years ago, would later inspire the term Thucydides Trap. It's not a literal law. History doesn't repeat with mechanical precision, but it's a recurring pattern, a warning, a lens for understanding what happens when established powers confront rising ones. And once you see it everywhere. Athens and Sparta were opposites. Athens was a wealthy naval power, democratic, well, for property-owning men at least, expansionist cultural center, philosophy, drama, architecture, the city people wanted to visit, to trade with, to join. Sparta was the dominant military land power, oligarchic, conservative, stability-focused, a warrior society where boys were taken from families at age 7 and trained for combat. The city people feared. For decades, they coexisted. Sparta dominated in land. Athens dominated at sea. Different spheres of influence, but then Athens defeated Persia. The Persian Wars ended with Athens as the hero, the city that saved Greece. The rising star, and Athens didn't stop. It formed the Delian League, an alliance of Greek city-states, supposedly for mutual defense, but really an Athenian empire. Tribute flowed to Athens. Ships sailed under Athenian command. The Parthenon rose on the Acropolis, built with alliance funds. Sparta watched and worried. Small disputes became magnified. An ally switches sides. Is that betrayal or pragmatism? A trade route shifts. Is that commerce or strategy? A wall gets built. Is that defense or preparation for aggression? When you're afraid, everything looks like a threat. Alliance commitments pulled both sides toward conflict. Athens backed one city, Sparta backed its rival. Minor conflicts in the Greek world became proxy wars. Diplomatic incidents became crises. And in 431 BC, full-scale war broke out. The Peloponnesian War lasted 27 years. Devastated Greece, killed tens of thousands. Athens suffered a plague that killed a quarter of its population, including Pericles, its greatest leader. Athens lost. its golden age ended. The democracy collapsed temporarily, replaced by oligarchy. The Athenian Empire dissolved, but Sparta's victory was Pyrrhic, costly, temporary. Within decades, Sparta itself would decline, exhausted by the war and unable to maintain dominance. Both sides lost. The war neither wanted, but both felt compelled to fight, destroyed them both. That's the trap. So what is the Thucydides Trap exactly? Here's the pattern. Step 1. A rising power challenges an established power. Not necessarily through aggression, sometimes just by existing, by growing, by succeeding. Step 2. The established power fears decline, fears irrelevance, fears that the world order it dominated is ending. Step 3. Both sides begin acting more aggressively. The rising power, feeling disrespected, asserts itself. The established power, feeling threatened, pushes back. Step 4. Tension escalates. Small incidents become major. Allies get involved. Miscalculations happen. Pride prevents compromise. Step 5. War. Often neither side wanted it initially, but the structure, the fear, the alliances, the inability to back down makes it feel inevitable. The trap is psychological and structural. Leaders may be rational, may genuinely want peace, but systems and pressures push nations toward conflict anyway. Think about it in human terms. Two companies competing for market dominance. The established brand sees the upstart succeeding and panics. Slashes prices, launches attack ads, makes aggressive moves that might backfire. Two political parties, one dominant for decades, suddenly facing a challenger. Instead of adapting, it doubles down, becomes more extreme, alienates moderates. A sports dynasty watching a rival team rise. Instead of focusing on its own game, it becomes obsessed with the competitor, makes desperate choices, loses its edge. Fear of losing status creates overreactions, and overreactions create exactly the conflicts you were trying to avoid. But here's the crucial point. The Thucydides Trap is not destiny. It's a warning sign, a pattern to watch for. Not every rivalry ends in war. The trap can be escaped. The question is how. The Thucydides Trap isn't unique to ancient Greece. It's appeared repeatedly across history, sometimes ending in war, sometimes avoided. Example 1. Britain and Germany before World War I. Britain, the dominant global empire for a century. The Royal Navy ruled the seas. The sun never set on British territories. Germany rapidly industrializing, building factories, railways, a powerful army, and crucially, building a navy to rival Britain's. That naval arms race terrified Britain. The Royal Navy wasn't just military power, it was British identity, the foundation of the empire. Germany challenging it felt existential. Meanwhile, Germany felt encircled, Britain, France, and Russia forming alliances. Germany's growth seen as threatening rather than legitimate. Small disputes escalated, alliance commitments created chain reactions. When Archduke Franz Ferdinand was assassinated in Sarajevo in 1914, nobody expected a world war, but the structure was set. The fear, the alliances, the inability to back down. And 4 years of devastation followed, killing 20 million people. Britain remained powerful afterward, but diminished. Germany was crushed. Both sides lost more than they'd gained. The trap snapped shut. Example 2. Rome and Carthage. Rome rising power in Italy, expanding influence. Carthage, established Mediterranean naval and commercial power, dominant for centuries. Two powers competing economically and militarily. Mutual suspicions, small conflicts over Sicily, escalating into the Punic Wars. 3 wars spanning over a century. Carthage was eventually destroyed, razed. Rome became the Mediterranean superpower. But the cost? Decades of war, enormous casualties, Hannibal crossing the Alps with elephants and devastating Italy. Rome nearly defeated multiple times. The trap again. But here's the crucial point. The trap can be avoided. Example 3, Britain and the United States. Late 19th, early 20th century. Britain still the dominant global power. The United States rising economically, expanding westward, industrializing rapidly. By every measure, this should have triggered the trap. The U.S. was challenging British dominance. Britain had every reason to fear displacement. But war never happened. Why? Shared language and culture, easier communication, less mistrust, economic ties. Trade made war costly for both sides. Diplomatic compromise, disputes over Venezuela, Canada, and other issues were negotiated, not fought. External threats. Germany's rise gave Britain and the U.S. a common concern. Britain chose to accommodate American power rather than resist it. Ceded naval dominance in the Western Hemisphere, accepted a partnership rather than demanding primacy. The established power let the rising power rise, and both benefited. The special relationship that followed shaped the 20th century, so the trap can be escaped. It requires mutual respect, communication, willingness to compromise, recognition that zero-sum thinking creates lose-lose outcomes, but it's possible. The Thucydides Trap is compelling, but it has critics. Criticism 1. It oversimplifies history. Wars happen for many reasons: economic interests, ideology, personality of leaders, domestic politics, accidents, miscommunication. Reducing everything to rising power versus established power misses complexity. Fair point. The trap is a pattern, not a complete explanation. Criticism 2, it risks becoming self-fulfilling. If leaders believe war is inevitable, they may act accordingly, prepare for conflict, interpret every action as hostile, create the very war they feared. The trap becomes a trap precisely because people think it's a trap. Criticism 3, history doesn't repeat perfectly. Ancient Greece didn't have nuclear weapons, or global supply chains, or international institutions. Modern economics, diplomacy, and technology changed the incentives. War between major powers today would be catastrophically destructive in ways Athens and Sparta never imagined. That changes the calculation. So maybe it's better to think of the Thucydides trap not as a law, but as a lens, a way to understand power transitions, a warning, a reminder that fear can drive terrible decisions, a framework for analyzing when rivalries might escalate and why. It's a tool for thinking, not a prophecy. The ancient Greeks recognized something timeless. Fear can shape history as much as ambition. Thucydides watched Athens and Sparta destroy each other and asked, why? Not the immediate triggers, this battle, that insult, but the deep cause, and his answer was simple and profound. It was the rise of Athens and the fear that this instilled in Sparta. Rising powers and declining powers often misunderstand each other. The rising power sees its growth as natural, deserved, inevitable. Why shouldn't we prosper? Why shouldn't we have influence? The declining power sees the same growth as threatening, aggressive, destabilizing. They're challenging us, disrespecting us, taking what's ours. And miscalculation can matter more than intention. Neither Athens nor Sparta wanted the Peloponnesian War at the start, but the structure, alliances, pride, fear, inability to compromise, made it feel inevitable. Britain didn't want World War I, Germany didn't want it, but the Kiss trap snapped shut anyway. The Thucydides trap isn't really about Greece, it's about what happens when nations and people fear losing their place in the world. The good news, the trap can be escaped. Britain and the United States proved it. Rivalry doesn't have to mean war, but it requires something difficult, choosing partnership over primacy, accommodation over resistance, the future over the past. Thucydides wrote his history so that future generations could learn from it, so they could see the pattern, so they could maybe avoid repeating it. Whether we do is up to us.